Are you living the Delaware Beach lifestyle? You can't live at the beach and do nothing. This up-and-coming year-round area has lots to offer. Find out where to eat, play, and serve. Living the ultimate dream.
Okay, welcome to the 302 Lifestyle Beach Podcast. Today we have Kathy in the house. Lots of great stuff here. So we were chatting a little bit before the show. So you ended up moving your studio. But before we get into that, how'd you even end up in Bethany Beach? And what is it that you do?
Okay, sure. So like 11 years ago, we started coming down to the area just to get away with some friends, fell in love with the area, bought a camper in Bayshore.
Oh, yeah.
Spent every weekend coming
nice.
down from Maryland, enjoying the sunsets and the beach and the lifestyle. And so for a long, long time, I've known about the area and loved it. And then, flash ahead to this year, I had post-COVID shut down my business, which is a teaching art studio named Raye of Light.
Can't do that online.
Yeah, you
maybe
can.
you can. Did you end up doing Zoom?
A lot of Zoom.
Did you?
A lot of private.
Wow. Cool.
I didn't lose my private one-on-one students. And I'm not an art teacher. I'm a graphic artist. I got a BFA, but I was always in this creative field, and I just said, I'm going to launch this studio. I met so many creative souls out there, and they had no place to kind of dip their big toe in and reconnect with art. And so I am not an art teacher per se, even though I teach art. I'm an artist that teaches, and there is a difference.
Yeah.
And people will tell you that. But so I created this studio where you can come in, family, friends, small setting, really learn, and create something you really want to create. So it's a new concept.
Okay, so a lot to unpack on that. So
yeah.
First of all, no, it's great. So first of all, there's a lot of artists here. I've learned Rehoboth and Bethany, and there's just I think it's just because there's so many big cities around us. You know, you got the Philly and DC and Baltimore, and all these places, and there's just such an art thing. And naturally, I feel like artists they're really good at learning how to live in that creative state, you know, where, because when you're doing art, it's like a flow, you know, it's just kind of coming out. And I learned that those types of people love calmness and like to get in touch with nature. So naturally, I think a lot of them migrate to the beach from that crazy lifestyle in the city. So when you came from Maryland, did you experience like a shift in how you think and how you live? Did you get a lot of speeding tickets?
Well, you do. I mean, you feel the stress just go when you go over the bridge. I mean, and you talk to anybody and, you're up high, you're looking around, you're enjoying nature. It's awesome. Yeah. But I've been doing it for so long that this is kind of my second home. So it's not, I mean, obviously you are attracted to the area, and it showed back at home. All my classes back in Annapolis used to be of herons. Horseshoe crabs. We're painting.
Your body's like, go to the beach.
Yeah, pretty much that. And all my retired friends are like, you're doing this wrong. You need to be on this side. We need more to do. Come here. So to back it up a little bit, that's how I got here. Was I listened to them for the past 5 years, and with COVID, doing a lot of online. Started to get the phone calls in February. When are you reopening? Because people were getting their shots. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to reopen here. So
now, when you first started, was it difficult to kind of get it going? What's some of the challenges that you were able to overcome?
Sure. It's word of mouth. What I do is a lot of word of mouth.
Especially around here.
Yeah. Really around anywhere, because I kind of made a niche. There was, another industry out there that a lot of people were going and creating in, but they were frustrated. And I met so many people that said, oh, I'm not an artist, but my brother used to, or my mom was, or whatever. And I think now it's a little different. Kids can grow up and make a living doing art because of computer graphics, right? And animation. And so they'll be push towards that industry more than like people that came before all that industry, the computer
it's like,
generation.
look, this isn't a real job. This is just something you do on the side.
Exactly.
Let's do a career or something, go to school.
I even got that from my own parents who were creative entrepreneurs. They were like, you're going to a 4-year college. You can get your art degree, but you're going to a 4-year college.
Both my sisters, masters, I'm like, oh, I don't feel so smart, but
yeah. So,
cool.
but yeah, it word of mouth, experiencing it, right? Because what I get, which surprised me when I do it all the time, is relaxation. They're like, I had a woman in yesterday. She goes, it uses a different part of my brain and I leave feeling refreshed. She goes, I don't even think about all those other things, the crazy world that you just described. She's like, I come out and I'm like, just invigorated because they've used a different part of their brain to create. It's just something people don't do on a regular basis.
Yeah. Now talking to you, I was really into art when I was younger. I had all these drawings and I just loved it. I even won like some crazy art award.
Oh, wow.
And it happened to be the only piece of art that I did not care about. And I just hurried up and did it. I went on to win second place in the whole state of Pennsylvania on a scratch board. I did like a bobcat. I'm like, every time I see it, I'm like, oh my gosh. But it's funny, that's the key, I almost feel like, is when you release everything and you're just in it, and you just don't, it's almost like a weird paradox. Like I gave it up because I used to try so hard. And I would try it. I'm like, why doesn't this line why doesn't this hand? I got obsessed with hands because my art teacher was like, okay, if you get hands down, you can do anything. And I don't know how true that is, but I just couldn't get them to look the way I wanted to. I mean, it looked great, of course, but I don't know. You didn't see it, but so that was my little story in that. And I kind of gave it up because I would stress myself out. And then ended up studying, there's this guy, Dr. Joe Dispenza, he studies brain waves and states and all that stuff. And I actually learned about when you're in that art field, some people, they do really early or something like it really late. But there's this perfect spot where you're just flowing out, and it's just, you're not thinking, and it's such a meditation. It's like a,
right. Yeah.
And just like you described,
some of it can be, yeah, definitely. And the thing is too, what I do is all about what you just described, self-fulfillment, find that in you and nurture it, because most adults will tell you that they haven't taken an art class or even tried anything creative since high school, because where are you going to go?
Yeah.
The commitment's too big. We don't have that kind of time, or we're not going to invest that kind of money. And so I try to constantly come up with creative, new, fun art classes to get people in to experience it and find out oh my gosh, I could do this, because they're not left alone to their own devices. I introduce them to materials, we demo together, and it's small. I only seat 6.
Wow.
So that
very intimate.
Yeah. Intimate. You're not feeling self-conscious.
You're not focusing on everyone else looking at you.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's not competition. Okay. There's none of that. And, you're getting the help you need. I can catch you in a moment, when you were drawing that hand, I can catch you in a moment and going, oh, you don't have to erase the whole thing. You only needed to correct this much. And that's really key.
Never had that. Yeah.
Because people get frustrated and then they label themselves. Oh, I knew I couldn't do this. Right.
Yeah.
And
I did.
Yeah.
I'm not made for this or something, or I don't feel like going through the work to learn what you're talking about, or have a teacher to say, hey, you know what? I've gone through this stage. It's okay.
Right.
Do this. Yeah. And
but it comes, like you said, it's either early or late. And a lot of people later in life are investing in themselves, right? They have the time or they have the money. They want to invest in themselves, especially down here, right? There's a lot of people that are young, retired, and they're the ones that said, we need something to do besides go to the gym, eat out, and play golf. And
they usually make it a year.
Yeah.
So that's why I started this thing, because me and Daisy, I just love the area and the people, but we notice a trend. So the trend is they move in here, they start going all these places to eat. Well, they find their favorite 4 or 5 spots. Then they just stick to those. And then it's, you eat at home and you meet some neighbors and you do some things. But for the most part, they end up doing the same things over and over. And then there comes a part where it's a year, 2 years in, and they're like, oh, what else is there to do around here? But there's so many things now. they're scared because they got comfortable.
Yeah.
And so what you're suggesting is, start investing in yourself. You're here. And I did notice a retired thing too. So my parents live in Lewis. That's why we ended up coming here from Vegas, actually.
Oh, wow.
And so we're driving around doing this place, and I noticed a lot of families in retirement over in this area. I think, they must know something, And it's, So anyways.
Equidistant or very convenient for Pennsylvania, Maryland, right, to come and quickly vacation often, right? Yeah. And I think that's key too.
So someone reaches this point where they're like, okay, what else can I do? What else can I learn? Am I too old? Am I too young? Like all these different things go through your mind, and the body's constantly trying to fight you to like be in the comfortable state that you found. So what do you suggest to people when they're reaching this point where they're like, okay, what else can I do?
Well, I find with the creative people, it's like an unserved need. Like they'll do other things. When they come in, I have, because it's small, I have people introduce themselves and say what creative thing they do, not artistic thing, because there's a difference. And I tell them,
can you describe the difference? I'm sorry, I cut you off.
That's okay. And I tell them, I said, creativity is making with hands. So you may be a gardener, you may be a baker, you may be a woodworker. Maybe it's not considered art, but it is a form of creation, right? Yeah. And so these people that I see, for the most part, are already doing something like that, and they want another outlet to create. And so they'll come in. They may even say to me, "I always wanted to learn how to draw," or I love the colors that would go with my home decor. And so they want to make whatever it is in that class, and it's about a 2.5 hour time slot. And a lot of them come back because they actually end up with something they really enjoyed, and they created something they wanted instead of just going with, the flow and everybody doing the same thing kind of mentality. Yeah.
So we did experience like paint nights, right? I think that was like a big thing for a minute. But it's different because you're told what to do and everyone's doing the same thing. And it's just like, a few colors, and it's, but this sounds like it's more intimate, and you're saying, okay, well, let's kind of tap into what kind of a person you are. What are you looking for? What are you trying to create? And then you're opening up the door to that creative state of we're not just having fun and drinking. We're actually let's show you how to access this part of your brain where you can be creative and have it just come out.
Well, there's a range too, right? Those activities, paint night activities, are only in one medium. They're predominantly acrylic on canvas, right? I do things with alcohol ink. You can do charcoal. We're going to do a pouring class where I teach you. It's kind of a little bit of chemistry, how to make the paint.
Oh, that's neat.
And then it's like an oil and vinegar response on the canvas and moves around. I have guest artists. I want you to constantly be looking at Raye of Light Studio for fun, creative things to do. So I reach out to a lot of my friends that I think, hey, that's a cool thing. My audience would enjoy that. And they come in and they offer a 1-day guest workshop. We're having one on September 2nd for the Labor Day, influx that's here.
Yeah. Now, do you have to sign up for that?
Yes. Okay. Most of my classes you can, because I am located right off 26. You can just walk in, but if you really guarantee want a seat or you're coming with somebody else, usually people sign up online through my website and ticketed event.
Yeah, so let's just drop this in here. So we got we'll have the email and website and phone number down below, but it's rayoflightstudio.com. You have some contact information in there, so Kathy can reach out to you or someone. And then also email is also great too. If they just want to direct email you and not deal with the website, or if they're, I hear a lot of, I'm technically challenged, around here, but yeah,
they know
email, phone,
email.
definitely.
Yeah, I'll even answer a Snapchat.
Okay. Okay, so this is good. So yeah, we've got lots of people around here, and I think this area just naturally pulls out this, what else can I do? Or a lot of just sitting around the house, So what kind of shift do you see when someone finally reaches out, or they stop in, or they're driving by, or at some other store around there, and they just stop in, and then they're like, oh, this is really interesting, let me try it.
Yeah, there's a lot of curiosity right now because they are just finding me, and they'll be stopping next door, getting coffee at Drifting Grounds or wherever they are at. And I welcome them to come in. First of all, I'm kind of on display. If you come to Raye of Light Studio, it's all glass, so you can look in. So I have a lot of people driving by and just kind of staring in, and I'm like, hey, come on in, check it out, because I'm new and I know they're curious. But most people are really delighted that it exists.
Yeah.
They've had something like that somewhere else, and when they find out that they can come in when their family's in town and schedule their own private event.
That was my next question, actually. You do private stuff, so
yeah,
of course, okay.
Yeah. And one-on-one. There are some people that are really self-conscious, or they just want all the attention to really learn, and they'll schedule a private lesson and come in and learn whatever it is that they're interested in.
Nice. And we were chatting a little bit about, because of COVID, you started experiencing Zoom.
Right.
So if someone they just don't want to leave and they just want to stay in their house, or maybe they're handicapped or something, you could do a Zoom session privately, stuff like that.
I still do Zoom classes with Anne Arundel Community College. My commitment ends in August, but I have all the equipment. And the one thing everybody tells me is that they love having a front row seat, because that camera is right over what I'm doing.
Oh, neat.
And so it's like being there. So
that's cool.
I do. Because I have had a couple of people ask me because of the handicap nature, but if you ever come to the studio, I don't have steps. I don't have a ramp. I mean, I even have a huge garage door if you couldn't get through the door.
All right.
Strollers, wheelchairs.
Perfect.
Bring it on in.
All right.
Yeah.
So you got this going, you're doing these classes, everyone's talking about it. Now COVID, so now you're moved and now you're at 26. So all that's renovated and everyone needs to stop in, because apparently you're a dismissed designer with your artistic mind, right?
It was amazing. Like I've got to get the picture up so you can see it. But in March, when I signed the lease, it was dirt floor, barn door.
Yeah, I remember what it was like.
1909. That building comes from 1909.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I kept the original rafters.
That's neat.
It's got a 20-foot ceiling.
Wow.
Windows up at the top so the light comes down into everybody.
It used to be like dark and dingy.
Very dark.
Yeah, I remember the shop that was in there. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So what's next for you? What are you thinking?
Well, eventually, like right now, I'm here in Delaware Wednesdays through Saturdays.
Okay.
There's a class every single day that's offered. If you don't like that class, you can come in, during the studio hours and take something else, or drop in and do a creative activity. We do just have open studio times for people to use materials and just.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So someone can come in and just use stuff. Okay. Wow.
When there's not a class. Right.
All right.
So like this afternoon, there's a drawing class this morning. We're doing the egret. It's a charcoal class. So it's hittingly 50 Shades of Gray. You're actually taking charcoal.
It literally
away.
is 50 Shades of Gray.
Yeah, pretty much. And when that's free after that at 1:30, then it's open studio until I close up at 6. So it's a rainy day. People may take advantage of that and drop in. It's a flat fee. Use the art materials. And like I said, there's no formal class. But I am there, and I can't resist the urge to help if they need it.
Now, have you met some really cool artists around town?
Actually, I have. I've had a couple people drop in that have studios that are in the area, but they don't do what I do.
Yeah.
They make great guest artists.
Yeah.
I had this one guy that wanted to do surfboards, and I'm like, I don't know if we can fit that in my studio, having a class on how to make a surfboard, but and
turned out great.
I've had a couple of resident artists that have been here forever that are very established in the community that just wanted to check it out. So that was really very complimentary to me that they took the time to come in. And
now, it seems like there's like a community network of artists, and there's so I know there's some art shows around town.
I used to go to all of those. Yeah, I used to, and I talked to everybody, right? Because that's what I am. And so I'd ask them about themselves, because nothing's worse than sitting in a booth all day and people are afraid to talk to you because, then they might feel pressure to buy something. So,
it's more about socializing and just
and talking to them about them and what they're doing in life. You know, artists are people. Sometimes people put you up on a pedestal, like, oh, I'm not an artist, right?
Yeah.
And it's this mystique. And I, you know, hate to to take that away from anybody that loves that, but you know, I try to bring it down, make it accessible, make it not intimidating, right?
I like that, yeah.
So that it's fulfilling.
And do you see, so someone comes back after they've done it a time or two, do you start to see like a progression or like a shift in their mind where they're like, oh my gosh, like it's there. I finally get it.
I see them getting better. And like a lot of times I'll stop them because maybe they're going to overwork it. And I'll say, no, that's perfect. You're done. You know, drop the mic, get out of here. You're good. You do see them embracing it more because they're comfortable. They're thinking, oh yeah, I can do this. It's empowering, right? Yeah. Knowledge is empowering.
Yeah.
And once you learn something.
And you're learning about yourself now.
And you learn what you can do. Exactly. All those things. And it's very rewarding for people that have the time to invest in themselves.
Yeah. I love this actually. I really am going to come to one of your classes now. So
oh, cool. Yeah, I would love that.
It's been too long. And I
love that.
I'm like really into the, you know, mindfulness and been doing like the urban float thing.
Oh,
check that out.
Yeah.
Shout out to those guys. So
well, and it's
like another form of that.
Yeah. I mean, the Zentangle class that I offer is really cool for that. Wait.
Zentangle class. Now you gotta tell me
Tangle.
About that.
Yeah.
Tangle. Okay.
Yeah. It's as a graphic designer, we study positive, negative space, black and white design, right? And so what I did, again, people that can't draw, I made templates and you can come in and I call it Zentangle. And we trace around the templates and then I teach you how to do a repetitive but intentional design of your own choice. And you filled the form with this. And it's really a very powerful black and white piece when you're done. Now, a lot of people know Zentangle because they call it doodling, and they'll go and they'll make these designs, but it doesn't create any form. We're doing stuff that's relevant to the area. So crabs, horseshoe crabs, herons, sea turtles, you know, all that kind of thing.
The fun stuff.
Yeah. And I think that class is Friday afternoon, but that's sold out. But that doesn't matter because people will see that and go, oh, well, next time you do that, let me know. Yeah. And I said, why don't you tell me what date works for you and let's schedule it now?
Yeah.
You know?
And do you see what do you see when you get too many people?
Hasn't happened yet. Okay. I've only been open, what's today, the 28th? 28th. 28th. I've only been open 28 days. I opened July 1st.
Cool.
So it hasn't happened yet. And if there's too many, like somebody wants to
start one with more classes, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. More. We can always add more. Sure. Like I said, it's a 2.5 hour, you know, once a day.
Oh my gosh, we have flies.
I know. Well, that's okay. Right. It's a rainy day.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just add more classes or you add private times. I mean, that's why I have that span of time. And I do evening classes, but they're more infrequent right now. A lot of people want to stay off at 26 that are local, you know, on the weekends. And Friday nights are not necessarily a good night to try to get out there. So come fall, you'll see a few more evening classes for all the people that have been begging me.
Well, come fall. Classes. I have a feeling everyone's going to want to do something.
Yeah.
Because everyone's gone and now it's like this breath of fresh air. Hey, what can I do?
Right. Yeah. The one question I do get, and I should mention while we're on the air, is that a lot of people say, oh, you should do kids. You should do kids. It's not that I don't do kids. Children are 10 and up are always welcome to come by themselves. But if they're younger than that, because I am so small and hands-on, with a paying adult. Right?
Yeah.
Or bring your family, do it together, share that experience.
Okay. So instead of like doing just children's classes, that's a whole nother kettle of fish.
And I did that in Annapolis, but again, I find that most of the kids that are down here are visiting. So why not bring them in with your family?
Have you heard of float therapy? Holy cow, this is like the biggest secret in America, I think the world. Famous people, athletes, all these people are doing float therapy. and it's called Urban Float in Rehoboth. You can go to urbanfloat.com, click on Rehoboth, and check out these guys. You're basically sitting on 1,200 pounds of Epsom salt. Everything just feels so amazing, and you're on this weightless, de-stressing pod for an hour. I love it. You get a discount your first time. You can also let them know that you're from 302 Lifestyle. Check them out, guys. Sponsored by Urban Float.
Okay, so the children, so families can come, or if you have just one kid or something, but it's usually 10 and up is the preferred.
And the reason for that is there's a lot of research around the age of 9, kids start to really develop some skills.
Brain states. I mean, just different.
And I want to catch them then, especially boys, because a lot of time there is a little bit of a gender bias, and you see them still buying markers and art supplies for girls as they get older, but the boys not so much.
They start pushing down the creative.
They don't. It's not that they push it down; they just don't embrace it like they do for girls. And so, like I see a lot of kids that come in, they are drawing already all the time. Comics. They love to draw comics.
That's what I did.
Yeah. So I teach them how to storyboard. I teach them that kind of thing. And it's an attention span. It's also a drive thing, right? By the time you're 9 or 10, you're really into it because they're going to sit there for hour and a half, and it's not school. They've got to want to do it. So that's a better, more mature age than a younger age to do something like that.
And your goal is?
Well, just to embrace art and not let at any age, not let it intimidate you.
Okay.
Because it is something that we all, I mean, if you think about it, you're drawing before you can speak. What kid hasn't picked up a crayon and drawn something?
About that kind of stuff.
And then you lose that along the way because there's no outlet for it and it's not nurtured. We're not necessarily all artists, but we're all born to create. And that's what Raye of Light is about. The reason why I named the studio not after myself is because it's not about me, it's about you. And when you have a creative thought, a ray of light goes off in your head, a bright idea, right?
Yeah,
so,
I like that.
Yeah,
that's
the meaning
Raye of
behind
Light.
the name. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So you've been in the area for a little bit now. You've traveled here a lot throughout the years, and now this is home. So
I wish it was permanently home. It's home 4 days a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what if someone is coming here and maybe they just started coming, or they've been coming here for years or something, and maybe they just do the same things over and over? Do you have some secret spots that you like to visit or travel or go to that someone might be able to check out?
It's funny because I was last night eating dinner by myself at Big Chill, and a woman sat next to me, and I was asking her, where have you been? What are you doing? You should go here. You should go there. But yes, here's my secret spot. One, the sunsets here are phenomenal.
I know. Yeah.
I mean, if people have not experienced an ocean view, Indian River Bay sunset, they're really missing out on life. So if you can get to the Indian River Bay at sunset time, that is such an overwhelming, beautiful sight.
Yeah,
and
you're right.
That, I mean, yes, the ocean is fantastic, but the sun doesn't set there. It sets in our bay. So you got to get to the bay. And there is one little sneaky spot at the marina by Hammerheads. If you go down that road, you can sit in your car, and a lot of people will do that and watch the sun go down. I never knew that was there.
Yeah, I got a couple of spots like that.
Yeah.
But down Indian River Bridge, that's one of my favorite scenes because you got the bridge with the lights, and it's just a really cool spot. And some people don't even know you can get back in there.
Right. You can
walk down there.
You can even walk up that path because it's pretty protected and take pictures from there, which is pretty cool too.
And we got
especially if that's
spot.
Coming, going down, the moon's coming up. That's a great,
Wait, is that Big Chill?
Yeah.
That is Big Chill.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking of a Big Fish for a second.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Big Fish, Big Chill.
But yeah, going down there, a lot of the things that you like to do are timed, right? It's like certain times of the year, there's the Sandcastle contest, or there's the Bethany Boardwalk Art Show, or, there's certain annual events that are really cool not to be missed. But I'm telling you, I think the thing that got me down here permanently was watching that sunset and the beauty and the peace you feel. It's just.
And do you do sunsets?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
In fact, August, our daily watercolor class is all Indian River Bay sunset inspired.
That's really neat.
Yeah.
This is really cool.
Yeah. It's all taken from here. It's because if you think about it, if you're going to create something and you enjoyed the process, right, and you like it and it turned out, maybe you'll put it in your home. So why not do something that's relevant to the area?
Yeah. I love that you're here because I've been seeing a lot of stuff. Like, yeah, I try to stay off social media. We don't even watch TV actually anymore, but I'll go on there, you know, obviously because of this and other things, but I'm seeing a lot of art popping up. Like, I don't know if it's just because I'm looking at it, maybe their Facebook's like, oh, you like it, let me just show you more.
It could be.
But but I have been seeing it more, and I've been seeing different things.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of times when people think of art, they think of, oh, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to do a canvas or something, or on a piece of paper or whatever it may be. But what I'm hearing you say is like, let's explore different things, you know, and let's show you that there's so many vehicles or tools you can use to get to that space of, oh, I feel so much better after doing that.
Well, and if you, for the most part, if you enjoyed it, you are going to come back. Well, even though there are certain mediums that you got to do a lot to get good at, you know, and so you'll come back, you won't do the same subject, but you'll do the same medium. Then there are the people that just want to take a workshop once, right? So you kind of have to offer that range. And there's a lot of cool things. They'll come up to me and say, did you see that on YouTube? I try to invent everything so it's really original stuff, and they, you know, have to come to me to get it. Right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's cool. I like it.
Yeah.
And if someone is, if they're thinking about it, they want to do it, they're going to sign up, they're going to your website right now or whatever it may be. Is there like one medium that you suggest if no one's ever done art at all? Is there something that you say, let's just start here?
If you just want to have fun, the alcohol ink, people hear alcohol and they go, what? I want to sign up for that. What? Alcohol ink, which is an intense dye, is a lot of fun.
I never even heard of alcohol ink.
Because it's one of those art mediums, right?
That's cool,
you're not going to get that in school, right?
Yeah.
That's a more present day kind of medium. But I have this class where we make waves, and you put the ink dye down, you thin it out with rubbing alcohol, and you create this giant wave. And people love it because you're watching it react and swim around on the page, and it's a color explosion, and it's moving, and yeah, it is really neat, and it's fun. So
I'm actually selfishly asking for myself. Like, I have done art before, so I'm like, where would I start? If you get
back in those things that are just purely creative and you kind of don't have control, you allow yourself to do, because you're like, oh, this turned out. Wow. Look at that. You know, I didn't try. I mean, you make the thing, but it's got a mind of its own. It's doing some of the work on its own. The other one is the pouring class, and a lot of people know about pouring.
So this is just raw paint pouring.
Sounds like that.
Yeah,
but there's a little bit more to it. You make the paint, you put it in one cup. It's called a dirty cup process. And then you take the canvas, and when you lift it, it comes out.
Oh, that's different what I was thinking. Yeah.
It's not like
that's neat.
Poured. Yeah, it's fluid
so I'm sure you do like layers and
and it's really
it's chemistry, because you got to know which one will sink.
Well, you mix all that together, right? Okay. And it's like when you have salad dressing and oil and vinegar separate.
Oh, yeah.
You actually are adding different elements that push the paint around and separate.
That's really neat.
Yeah, that's cool too. And it's colorful. People can pick their own palette.
It's great for homes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like if you're trying to have like a big, you can even do big ones, right?
You could. Yeah.
Neat. Okay.
Yeah. Probably not in my class, group class, because again, we seat 6 and you have to have room to create. But like if you came in by yourself, you wanted to do half your wall canvas, more power to you.
Yeah. I'm thinking like all these different things I've seen. So they're really cool. Okay. So lightning round, you ready?
Yep.
All right. What is your favorite book? What's your favorite place to eat around here?
Oh my God, all of them.
I know.
Well, with being trapped to the studio, the godsend is DeFibio's Market. I mean, I just go down there, get their curry chicken salad because I can't leave the studio, right? It's just me. So
I love them.
I do too.
I personally know them.
Thank you, God.
Yes, I literally, me and my wife eat from there at least once a week. Like and you always have leftovers. I love it.
But I love the variety, right?
Yeah.
So but if I'm going out, if I'm going to be outside, it's Big Chill. Or Crooked Hammock. I love their sours.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Worth the drive. But here locally, love to be outdoors. So I like Good Earth Market and I love Cedar.
Yeah, we're really blessed
Cedar's
here to have some really good places. It never gets old. Like, I always think, man, we've eaten there so many times, but when I'm like, okay, let's just go back in. I'm like, oh gosh, I love this. What was I thinking?
Yeah.
Really great chefs and just amazing people. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what's your favorite book, tool, video, something that in your life, after reading it or seeing it or experiencing it, you kind of had this 180 or just some shift in your life that changed how you perceive something?
Wow.
That someone could check out.
That somebody could check out. Book, tool, I don't even know, because
Artists, maybe.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was inspired by.
There we go.
I was really inspired by Maxfield Parrish, who is from like the turn of the century, 19th century. His art is so lifelike. He did a lot of clouds and his colors and whatnot. And that actually really inspired me. But I grew up in a very creative household. So I was always around stimulus. So it's hard to kind of pinpoint one thing. My mother was a painter, my dad, an entrepreneur. They started a creative business that's still around today. So I had a lot of
influence and inspiring people.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing though is, so Maxfield
Parrish.
Okay. Maxfield Parrish. Just lifelike paintings and stuff that kind of gave you that little nudge of, oh, I love this.
Yeah, just love to look at it, right? And then you just get sucked in, when you find something you love or an artist that you really like. And that was early on. And I liked the Art Deco period. I liked things that were very decorative. And that I think kind of led me to want to be an illustrator. So, yeah.
Books?
You
chose books, or
I'm not.
Is that type of illustration?
Well, yeah.
Or?
I mean, I still saved all my kids' books because they're Caldecott winners. The illustration, we judge books by a cover. We do.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
Even adult books, I'm like, nah.
Yep. Yeah, it's all about the cover.
It's about the cover. I'm sorry.
And then the back.
Yeah. But yeah, I have like a whole bunch of, Maurice Sendak, love his illustrations, just things that I kept that were just so inspiring.
So I got a couple of things. One, right now I feel like we're speaking to the person that may not have someone in their life that's encouraging their creativity. And what I'm hearing from you is saying, look, you can find it. So find someone that you like, find design or architecture, just something, nature. Find something that you latch onto that kind of resonates with you and you like it, and just kind of go from there. And then you mentioned your parents. So if your parents are great, that's great. But if they're not, there's always people that you can find, especially now with technology and your phone. Find a group, find a Facebook group, find somewhere where you can connect to and have that inspiration and motivation, because I feel like we need people in our life to push us, and surround us. And if you're with people that don't encourage that, you're going to experience that, and you're going to end up doing something you don't like. And then before you know it, you're 35 or 45 or something. You're like, man, I wish I was doing something I love. And then you start turning to your creativity again. But instead of letting that go and not acknowledging that, doesn't mean you have to let go of your whole life, but just start exploring that. So I love it.
And a lot of those people you just described come to me later in life, right? Because they didn't know I existed, and now that they can do it again.
Love it.
They love to do it. So, yeah.
All right. So, what is one question I should have asked you, and what's your answer?
Okay.
One question I should have asked you, or should ask you.
I think we covered so many things. I don't know if we.
One's popping in my head.
Oh, well, okay.
What is your favorite thing to do? Like, what's your favorite art? What's your favorite medium?
Good question. I love to draw.
Like pencil?
Yes. And most people drawing, they don't sign up for, and it's too bad because I'm actually really good at
I'm signing up.
I'm really
That's
good
actually
at
my
teaching
favorite
you
thing
how
that
to
I
draw.
do. Okay.
I break it down. Do you remember, and I'm a little older than you, so you might not remember, but do you remember color forms? They're like the orange squares and the yellow triangles, and you put them together, and all of a sudden you made a house with a roof.
I'm pushing 40. So
Okay.
I'm not
Oh
that
my
young.
God, you're so old.
I know, right?
But you make structures out of these things, right? Well, in my drawing classes, the first thing we do is I give you a piece of tracing paper and we break it down. And then we put it back together so that you really understand the form, because your brain and your eye talk differently.
That's interesting, because I used to think I was cheating, because I used to use trace, like, I could see it still.
Everyone says that.
And then I would like get the outline, and then I would pull it off and be like, okay. And then I learned how to do the kind of line and just kind of like grid style.
Mm-hmm.
And that worked for me for a little bit.
Yeah, that's good for scaling. Like if you've got a small reference and you want to make something larger, but like you're gonna draw it freehand. But the problem is when you're drawing a contour line, which means you're wrapping it around the outside of an object, you don't really see the right proportions until you start putting the interior objects into that shape. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh no, I don't have enough
too
room.
big and not enough room.
And yeah. So we kind of do drawing backwards. So I teach you a kind of a fail-safe way to draw almost anything.
Because when I was thinking about, well, man, what would I start doing again? Because you're mentioning all these cool things, but my mind kept going to, well, you just love to draw. Like I had, I don't know, 50 Shades of Gray.
Yeah.
And my parents, I love them because they did encourage me to do this, but I had all these different charcoals and like different things. And I just started dabbling with the shading. I was just obsessed with shading and
That's how you pop something off a page.
Yeah. But I just, I kept going to this thing where I got stuck in these damn hands and like, I couldn't like get it to pull off, you know?
I'm going to see it. It's a matter of value. Most people like the paper's white, the charcoal's black. There are literally 50 shades of gray.
Yeah.
The more that you can develop your light tones as well as your dark tones creates the form. And a lot of us aren't comfortable. We think, oh, that's taking it too darker. They don't know how to get it lighter, right?
Yeah.
Because they erase everything.
Yep.
So it's just little techniques.
All right.
And developing an eye for it so that you recognize it when you see it and you don't go off in a different direction.
Yeah. And I feel like our brains are built to notice patterns. So I think that's a skill that it's like a muscle that you kind of like.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, you can get
the other
better.
thing is that like your hand, right? Your brain says, I know what a hand looks like. I'm going to draw it. And you start drawing it. And then what I teach you is how to really see, because we generalize when we think, right? Because these are not new concepts. We look at our hands every day, right? But to draw it, you really are looking at how the relationship is, you know, no matter what it is.
It's an intimate relationship.
It's just like
of seeing it.
It's like building a puzzle, right? How do all these things come together to form one thing? And you have to break it down to put it together. And so it's a skill. It's just developing that consciousness so that you can see anything and draw it.
Yeah. So this is a great conversation. I love it. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
Over
Thanks
here.
for having me.
So we are definitely going to go over and check out your studio and your design.
You're welcome
and,
anytime.
Post up some pictures about that, maybe a little video. But I want to get to this. I am definitely signing up for your drawing class.
Cool. I've got a face drawing one.
Yeah?
Yeah,
All right.
coming up. When you were talking about hands, you got to take the face one. It'll blow your mind.
Let's do it. And I want to encourage anybody or challenge anybody that if you are interested in doing this and you sign up maybe for this drawing class with me, Kathy is gracious enough to offer you guys a coupon if you mention the 302 Lifestyle. You definitely have to contact her or send her an email or something, and she'll reach out to you for that. To get you guys in, try it out, and I'm sure you're going to love it. And I just love art, and just hearing all this is reminding me of why I loved it, and it's really cool. So
great.
Thanks again.
You're welcome.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, guys, keep living the 302 Lifestyle. We got some amazing people here, and go check them out.
Wish you could spend more time having fun and less time with chores? Go to 302beachtalk.com to get $20 off a home cleaning. you'll be entered to win a completely free cleaning. Eat, play, serve. Sponsored by That Guy with a Broom.